Welcome gamers to Sins of a Solar Empire 2. My name is DasTactic and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the series, because this should be a series. We're going to be sort of playing it out. Sins of a Solar Empire, beautiful looking game and plays extremely well. Got a very good rating for a strategy game, especially a space strategy game. Not many of them sort of rate this highly, and this one deserves it. It's got a lot of really good stuff happening with it. I've been showing this a little bit during my DasTactic live streams on Mondays, just to sort of show what it does. People ask where does it fit in the grand scheme of 4X strategy games. It's really built around being able to be played as multiplayer. So that's one thing just to keep in mind. It's a fairly fast-paced game without being overwhelmingly sort of glitch, twitching on things and clicking away. It's not really one of those sort of games. You can still micromanage things to your heart's content, but you can automate a lot as well. So it's got a lot of positives across, whichever way you want to play it. They've really focused in this version on streamlining as many different things for the player to be able to actually get information quickly so they can make choices without having to pause the game. Now, I will be pausing the game because that's just the way I play games, but also it allows me then to talk about aspects of the game without feeling like I'm being rushed. But overall, I have tried the game where I haven't paused it, just playing it on my own time. It's enjoyable. You don't have to rush or worry about things because it really comes down to the rate of income that you actually then have. And so you essentially are trying to think and make decisions about the strategy of how you're approaching things rather than clicking on things frantically trying to keep up with stuff. So that's sort of more the approach, if that helps you sort of position it in your own mind. So if you are playing multiplayer, you won't be able to pause, of course. So that's important for multiplayer. For single player, it's got an active pause. You can pause whenever you like, make all the decisions you want to make, and then unpause, which is the way I prefer to play. So I'll be doing that in this run, but rest assured, you don't have to worry too much about the pacing of the game. It has been designed to be very, very approachable across the board. So now one question that I get often asked is if it's only just got the same content as Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, this one through here, which is now a fairly old game, why would you update and get the Sins of a Solar Empire 2? Now, I would suggest that you have a look and do your own research with the dev blogs as to what they've actually added to the game, how they've approached it, all those sorts of things. It is true, you've got the same number of factions, the same factions pretty much as what you had by the time Sins of a Solar Empire, the first version, got through to Rebellion, which was the last iteration of this great game. It really was one of the great games. And so Sins of a Solar Empire starts at that point. So that's actually, they wanted to get back as the baseline and then move forward from there. But what they've done is they've added a lot of user experience, user interface changes, made the game, even though the concept is very much the same, so it's not, you're not going to feel lost with this. It's not like some of these other games where you end up with a new iteration and they've destroyed the gameplay of the original. They've enhanced it rather than sort of replaced it, which I think is great. I think for me it's the perfect way of actually approaching a remake like this because they've done an incredible job, as I say. Like if you've played Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, you are going to feel fairly at home with the approach that things then go forward with this new game. So you're not going to be lost. You're going to understand that the minerals are basically the same. There has been some additions as well to the way that different things sort of interact. Things have been expanded, but not for the sake of just doing it. It's to make it make more sense. So I hope that is a bit of an introduction. We've nearly gone 5 minutes and I still haven't got into the game. So let's just get in and have a look at we'll look at the cut screen. This will then explain what's going on with the different factions, and we'll do a very slow dive into what the game is, mainly with the idea to sort of, like, if you're on the fence about it, don't really know what it is, then hopefully if you've watched this video and this series, you're going to understand what's going on. Before I get started, I do want to thank Stardock, who is sponsoring this series, which is fantastic. So thank you, Stardock. And as I say, it's a game that I've been looking forward to getting into and actually making this series. I've been looking forward to it for quite some time. I lost my voice about a month ago, like actually 2 months ago, and then lost it for an extended period. And so I couldn't make it when I was supposed to make it originally. And then I've had some troubles with it because I've been using the media version. I've still got some hangover files from the media version, but I'm pretty sure it is up to date. So I'm thinking that I've got an updated game at this point in time, at time of recording. So let's get into it. We're going to go and play it, and we'll just watch the cutscene. I will talk over the top a little bit, as I tend to do. But I'll try to let it do its own thing. It's very, very pretty.
My entire generation.
These are Advent ships attacking a human colony.
For more than 30 years, we've sacrificed and bled for a memory of peace we've never known.
This is a human battleship that's just come in
And the burdens of
to try to take on the Advent.
We were trained to survive in a hostile, changing galaxy. To evolve and adapt.
That's showing one of the new mechanics,
and
which
leverage the
I'll go
environment
through.
in our favor using the ships.
This is Vasari ships, I think, attacking another human fleet. Human fleet is now going through one of the warp lanes. Ends up at a new location and is then attacking I think that's a Vasari spaceport there. Vasari is one of the three factions, three bases.
More flexible.
These are human, human starports and ships.
And we would modernize our fleets to take advantage of newly discovered resources.
God, they do cutscenes well,
Our
Starter.
enemies have not stood idle. The alien Vasari have continued to race
That's
ahead of
Vasari.
us in their mastery of phase technology. Reports of strange structures empowering devastating new fleet tactics have become increasingly frequent.
That's the Advent.
The Advent deviants have proven to be our greatest threat. Their spread across former traitor worlds has reached a critical mass and now allows them to function as one. The collective will bent on our destruction. Now something new is on the horizon. Signals from both friendly and enemy planets are falling at an unprecedented pace. And all attempts to survey the situation have failed. We don't know what's out there, but a confrontation is imminent. We'll be ready when it comes.
There we go. Okay, so that's the cutscene. God, they do a good job of these. I mean, Galaxy 4 as well. Beautiful cutscene. One of the best around, I think, and that's a good one as well. And that one, what I like about that cutscene, and so many games don't do this well, is that they have a cutscene that just doesn't make sense in terms of really presenting the game. But this one does do a good introduction of the different factions, or the different races more than the factions, to be honest. So you can see there the three different races. You've got the Advent back over through here, which is sort of like humanity, but then taken... and adapted, so they're quite different. They're almost like a religious humanity type group. Then you've got the standard old humans in the middle there, which I think will play as them simply because they're the most easy to actually grasp and understand. I think it's a good starting point for playing the game. And then you've got the Vasari. Vasari as a race are sort of they're escaping some of the sort of war or fight somewhere else, and so they've come into the solar system that we're in, and are trying to extract resources so that they can then sort of essentially get ready for their next jump. And so, and then each of the factions, or each of the races, have got two factions. So we've got a total of 6 factions. So there's 2 tech, which is the humans, and it's mainly sort of like this is like a trader group is the humans. The Advent have got 2 as well, and the Vasari have got 2, which they've all got different ideologies. So they don't closely align. They're not just like they're similar and then they're going to be ganging up against the other races. It's actually, they're really quite diametrically opposed, with their ideologies, which makes the game quite interesting. It's fairly dystopian, the overall approach, which is really cool for this sort of game. So anyway, let's press any key to start. That's nothing. I think that's one of the hangovers from where it was. I did check to see what version of the game I've got, and I'm pretty sure it is the most up-to-date version. That was fairly important. Let's just go through everything. What you've essentially got is you've got single player, multiplayer. Multiplayer essentially is you can then go and join in different games, for example, and just play them. The game is designed to be played relatively quickly, but we won't be playing it quickly. We'll be playing it fairly slowly, but you can play it fairly quickly. So you can see here, random 6-player, casual versus AI. They've got 2 of 3 human players against 3 AIs at this point in time. And you can see the setups for it as well. So the multiplayer, these are just the multiplayer games currently where they're looking for players to join in. And so pretty cool the way that sort of does work. We've got to host new game ourselves if we wanted to and just go through the various maps. You'll see there I've got some that are yellow, and these are modded maps that I've loaded in from the web, from the World Wide Web. Anyway, we've got these in through here as well. So that's I won't be spending much time with multiplayer, but there is certain things that you can then sort of go and do about how they all sort of then work out. You've got casual free for all, no set teams, or sort of moving across to casual teams, casual versus AI, normal free for all, etc. Normal teams, normal So you've got a whole lot of different stuff. So you can sort of set up how you want the game to sort of then present, I guess, is the way that this would then sort of work. I'll just get that one back to there. That'll be okay. So that's multiplayer. Then you've got LAN as well, which is fantastic. So if you do like LAN party type games, then this is one that you can then go and play if you did want to have that thing. It's funny, most games, a lot of games, I won't say most, but well, I guess most don't give you the option to actually host a LAN party game. And I know it's for like workplaces and things like that. That's one way that you can actually then enjoy playing the game, or if you've got a group of friends. So at least you've got that option as well. You've got your own replays. I think I've left one in through here. I was playing one before. The replays are very, very cool. I might even show you what you can learn as a new player from the replays. So we might do that in just a minute. Modding as well in through here. You've got essentially your mod.io area where you can pick up the different mods. You can sort of go and sort of structure them. You can see I've got a couple that I've actually subscribed to in through here. And these are interesting. What I like about this one is it's got ratings. So this one here is like the Galactic Empire faction. Adds a Galactic Empire to the Sins 2 universe. It's a work in progress at this point in time. But this is really cool, actually. And so there's been like nearly 12,000 downloads and 6,000 subscribers essentially, and you can see they're overwhelmingly positive. So that would be a cool one to try out, but I won't introduce it. To get them installed, you just basically click on subscribe, but I'm guessing there'll be a fair bit to download with that one there, I would imagine. So you've got a whole lot of different stuff. There's actually heaps of them, like, in relative terms, very positive, very positive. So people are sort of rating them on different aspects. So certainly go and have a look at that one, to see if there's any mods that you do want to have. I will show the replay. I'll manage as well, by the way, when you come back in, I've now moved these across into my actual game. You can actually still have them subscribed and get rid of them from the game, but I'll just leave them in there. These are just maps. I've just brought a couple of maps in through there. So that's how the modding works. Again, it's just nice the way the game presents. If we go back to the replay, and I'll just show you very briefly why this can be interesting. So I know what I did was only played for like 22 minutes, so just fairly early in what was actually happening with a random 6-player game, and it went through like who's actually playing. If we just go in and watch the replay, it will then start where the camera started, but I can then move anywhere I like. So it's then just going to sort of show the actual game itself. I assume this is going to all work out okay. Now just pause this. This has taken quite some time to come in, but we'll just wait for it to load in, and then it'll then sort of start to play from the start of the game. And we can't sort of step in or do anything like that, but we can analyze all sorts of different things from this, which if you, again, trying to sort of learn, what you did, and particularly in multiplayer, you might sort of be thinking, okay, I wonder why that player did this, or how did they get ahead so quickly? You're going to be able to analyze in very, very deep fashion the actual games that are being played. I'll just pause again until it actually loads up. Here we go. So the game is now running forward. I can pause just by pressing spacebar at any point in time in this replay. I can zoom in and out as well of the actual game. I'll talk about how things actually do work in the game. I can even sort of do like look at the planning phase of the game. Like if we go and do future orbits, it will even show this as well. Not that it makes that much difference with what we're seeing through here. I'll just turn that one off. I can skip forward a lot. I'll just unpause the game, but then just skip forward to maybe about the halfway point. Now it's just racing through, getting all the texts and all of these ships being built, doing all the scouting. So it's just sort of trying to catch up with this yellow bar at the bottom here. And we come across different factions. Now, if I just pause it there again, so it's still sort of coming up with all this stuff, so sorry about all this research, etc. Things happen pretty fast in the game anyway, but that's about 10 minutes in, or 11 minutes in this instance. So you can see there, it's already like developed a reasonable amount. Now, at the moment, we've only got player-only visibility. I can go and flick that one off, and we can see everything going on. So I can actually go in and have a really close look at what's going on in each of the actual factions, with the ships. Even though we didn't get to see all of this stuff in our time, we can actually go in and have a look at this is an Advent ship, for example, which is making its way across somewhere else. So, it's a beautiful looking game, but this one, the replays do allow you to really fully analyze everything. There's one of our ships, which is one of our scout corvettes, just making its way across. We never got out to here, but we can sort of see where other factions actually are. And then as we sort of process over time, actually I'll just go back into here again. If we now have a look and see the progress of the future orbits, this is a big new feature to the game, but I'm thinking that particularly with a lot of my viewers, you may want to have that turned off to a large extent. Actually, I'll just move my head out of the way. Yeah, I think that sort of gets us out of the way. Right, so with any of these different things, we'll sort of see all sorts of different information about the actual game. But if I go and click on these future orbits, we're then going to be able to just see what actually happens with the orbits. See how there's a couple of them, or one in particular, that's orbiting back the other way, and it changes the star lanes. This is a major feature of the game, is the change of star lanes. So if I go back and start to scroll this back and through here, I can then see there's like one rogue planet in through here. So this is a Terran planet that is actually sort of zipping its way through, and it's going in the opposite rotation of the others. And as it goes through, see how it's interfering with the various star lanes. So it's creating its own star lanes as it goes. And this is actually something that I'm thinking that more advanced players would probably enjoy this, but it actually chops and changes, and then eventually will sort of leave and just keep on doing things. What it does do is it allows surprise attacks if you do make use of these rogue planets. Now, this is a random group that we've actually got going through here. Now, I'm going to play with that turned off for the simple reason I think it's just going to make the game a little bit easier to actually comprehend, rather than trying to rely on these sort of rogue orbits to then sort of change the strategy. Although I will say, I did want to sort of point out, it is a major feature of the game. So that is now something that's really quite important. Let's just move forward towards the back end of the game and through here. Now, I didn't play it to the end, but you can see this thing is just rotating around very slowly over time, but it does rotate. It will then lose its it'll pick up other warp lanes as it does things. Okay, it's now caught up. It didn't quite join up with these just yet, but things are sort of happening. And if we move to the back end, I'll just move to the far end now. Just see if
we have failed to reclaim our world.
Yeah, so it didn't actually move far enough in that time to actually then change the lanes, but you can see by actually turning that on, you can check out the future orbits to see what they're all going to be doing. So they're all moving around to a degree. Now, one thing you'll sort of notice, I then just surrendered essentially. So we've now then lost our planet in through here. The other guys are expanding, and again, it's good to sort of see what they did with their expansion. They've sort of taken over just little asteroids as an example. What have the other groups done? If we just sort of zoom across, have a bit of a look. Yeah, asteroid taken through there. asteroids. Actually, they've taken 2 asteroids and sort of blocked this player off. This player's just got a couple of asteroids in this instance in through here. And so one of the extra things we can then sort of do with this is to, like if we then end the game, I think if we go this way, and if I just quit the game, it will then show me, like in real time, all sorts of different aspects about the game. And we'll talk about this when we're actually playing the game, but this can be very, very useful just to see where did I fall backwards in comparison to the AI or other players. And so you've got all sorts of things like with your planets, the number of planets owned. You can see there, we're the orange line. We were slow to get started, but we ended up being the same as everyone else. And as we just hover through, this will then chop and change in terms of, you can see the timing down the bottom through there, off to on the right-hand side, and sort of the number of planets that are then controlled by different players. But there's all sorts of different aspects. You can see that I didn't actually focus on planet items at all, and everyone else was starting to ramp that up. So that's something I've got to look at. So it's quite a good learning experience to sort of do this. It goes through combat, how different things are working, the amount of fleet supply used, and the number of ships killed, for example, like who got the most kills. We were doing pretty well there at one point. Things like that. So there's all sorts of different, everything is analysed, which is great. If you're into these sorts of games, you can really have a good look and sort of see. You can even sort of filter, like if we go into the combat and just do a ship's killed again, but I can turn on or off the various, I can just compare it to, say, one other faction and see, okay, look, we absolutely smashed it in compared to the Ast Eternal, which would be an Advent group. So we can sort of just, like if it's sort of overwhelming to see lots and lots of different stats, we can sort of reduce that one down and have a bit of a look at that one. So anyway, that's sort of that was just a bit of a replay. I did want to show that because there's so much you can glean from those, which I think is fantastic. So anyway, that's for me, another big, great feature of the actual game itself. Let's go back to single player, and we'll just get a single player game started. I'm still thinking of playing a random 2-player game, but one that comes from within the game itself. 2-player, is that going to be enough? It probably is, because the way I want to play this, I don't really want to be. Don't want to be focusing. Maybe 3-player. Let's go to the next size up. If I click double, get all of them. Like if I click twice on the sizes, it just turns the filtering off in terms of the actual size. So I can then sort of go all the way up to 10-player games back and through here. But I'm just going to go maybe a 3-player. So I'll just click on the filters for medium games. Now, there's all sorts of different settings with these as well, by the way. So if we go and have a bit of a look at this one, if I go back to the small and go to Agamemnon's Bounty as an example, this one actually has 3 different stars. So it's got wormholes between the stars, and then it's got like minor factions are on. See, there's a lot of setups in here as well. Only 2 players, but with 3 stars. So 23 planets. It means that you're going to have to sort of develop the stars and then sort of fight through in the middle with another star. Most of them have just got a single star, or like a single solar system. With this, like this one's only got a small number of planets, low resources in this instance. So it'd be fairly sort of difficult. Wormholes are true again. The unusual radiation profile of the star has created a pair of stable wormholes in the system. An arc of resource-rich planets also orbits Sinos. Can you exploit them before your enemy does? So these are pre-made maps, but I think we'll play a random map. Random 2-player back and through here. And so this is one, actually we'll go to 3-player, sorry, I'll make a random 3-player back in this side. So we don't actually have any wormholes in this system. It's 3 players, 26 planets, resources normal. I can't change these, it would be cool if you could, but you can't actually change them. There's sort of like an algorithm that is set up for these. That's why I downloaded some of these other ones. These are random 4-player Reforged, for example, which gives you high resources. Just gives you another thing. Again, you can't adapt those, but it is still interesting to sort of see what's going on through here. Minor factions are on. We've got the no wormholes. The design is just auto-generated, so we don't have to worry too much about that one through there. By the way, there are things, for example, like players' guides, where you can go to the Steam community and actually read There's lots of guides about this game as well, if you're sort of wanting to sort of, and I know a lot of people do like to read those, so there's a heap of them to read if you're interested in the game, just to sort of get the most out of it. It's extremely well supported, I've got to say, by the community, which is great as well. So anyway, let's just go and play this one through here. Let's set the game up. Now, we've got other options we can actually go and do. So if we go to, that's none of these can be done. I can go into here though with the map settings and change a few things. So the orbiting planets, it can either be yes or no. So planets will orbit their star and phase lines will change over time. I'm going to change that to no, just so we've got stability for this sort of early-ish game. But that, as I said, as I showed you before in that replay, can be a big feature of strategy in the game. Home planet victory essentially means players will lose the game upon losing their home planet. Players will not be able to change their home planet once the game has started. So Vasari players have researched to help mitigate this loss condition. Okay, so the Vasari actually don't start with a planet. They have to settle a planet at the start. Colonization victory knows the game is won by a player or a team colonizing most of the galaxy. The game's speed is just going to be on normal. Again, we can chop and change this a little bit. Research rates, we can sort of change those. Ship build rates. Again, the orbiting planet speed, if I turn that one back on again, I can change that to, for example, high or low, very low. So it's only going to go at sort of half rate. But I'll turn it off, just so that we don't have to think about it. Not that it really impacts much what you're doing. It's not as if it's chop and changing all the time. It is quite slow, but we'll keep it turned off. Ship speed just normal in through there, and income rates just normal. But so you can, if you're wanting to, change the income rates of credits, metal, and crystal. They're the only three resources, the main three resources you have to worry about. Let's just go and close that one, and we won't bother playing as teams. We'll just have a no teams free-for-all. So all players will start unallied to one another. Alliances are fluid and can change at any time during the game using diplomacy. So I'll try to show that aspect as well as we sort of get playing. It's a simple system to actually sort of go and do that one. Now, the group that we actually then have is we can change, what we look like, who we actually are, and through here, the colour schemes that we end up using for, but I'll just leave it here. This will be fine. We'll just accept this one. And then we've got the different factions. Now I'm just going to grab one from each of the races. So at the moment we're playing as the Tech Enclave. I'll just go through what each of these actually are. So the Tech Enclave, the Trader Emergency Coalition, was originally created to deal with the Vasari threat. By utilising their economic power, the Tech have managed to survive by being industrious and adaptive. Weary from the long decades of war, the Tech Enclave seeks isolation from the other factions by focusing on defensive measures and technologies. This is the important thing for this particular faction. They're a defensive faction. So if you're into turtling like I am, then this is probably a good faction to play. So what have we got? The Enclave is able to deploy cheaper star bases, construct 2 star bases around their planets, and more heavily armor their defensive structures. So it is something where we just build up a solid defense and then just keep on expanding through solid defense. Unique planetary items. We have the Home Guard Command Center. This heavily fortified facility acts as a command post for the elite Enclave Home Guard, whose members will be deployed on ships up to 2 jumps away. Their grit and damage control expertise ensures ships can shrug off extreme damage in combat. And so it just means we actually extend out beyond on that when we've got planets with this command center on it. We then get better coordination and defense for the different ships that are within 2 jumps of that particular base. Okay, unique units. We've got the Ankelon Titan, so a mighty warship that specialises in supporting friendly fleets with many defensive abilities. Now, the 2 tech groups will actually share a lot of the same different ships and things like this, the same designs, but this is a unique one for the Enclave. So I'll just go back and hover back over through there. We have different things like unique research, garrison recruitment, garrison expansion, heavy garrisons. So you can see there's a lot of defensive style tech in around that one through there. So there's a lot of unique research tech for this particular faction. If I go and click on the primacy, this is the other tech faction. So this is the first little bit is just talking about the humans, essentially the Trader Emergency Coalition. But this one is immersed in a militant philosophy of the tech. The primacy chooses to use the arsenals they've created to crush their enemies. Hateful of all Xenos species, from the cruelty of decades of war, the tech primacy shows little mercy. The primacy gains economic benefit from attacking other empires and can ally with neutral and pirate factions for aid. So this is sort of almost like a rebellious, sort of very xenophobic faction. So, and the pirate factions are revealed to them at the start of the game because they can sort of ally with them. Supreme Center for Human Doctrine, this grand and imposing facility broadcasts human-centric messages to ships at this planet and up to 2 jumps away. Invigorated and inspired by the continuous indoctrination, warship crews seek out battle with a renewed ruthlessness. So this is more, rather than defense, is more about attack. This one has got a unique unit, which is the Ragnarov Titan, extremely powerful long-range warship with a superb offence centred around its powerful railgun, and also the Novolith Cannon, a weapon of immense power, is capable of bombarding planets from nearby gravity wells. So this one means it can actually really do a lot of damage at long range. Again, you can see there's a whole lot of extra sort of stuff in through here. Extreme Xenophobia is one of the unique researchers. This will be a fun one to play as well. They're all good. They're all pretty cool, but you can see it's quite uniquely different to the Enclave, even though they're both sort of xenophobic to a large degree. This one is more about defense. This one is all about attack, black market, pirates, things like that. Then we go to the Advent. Now the Advent, if I just go and click on that one, you'll sort of see we've got like a different sort of character in through here. The Advent Reborn. So the Advent are a highly advanced civilization that rely heavily on spiritual, psychic, and cybernetic technologies. Long ago, they were outcast by the trade order, and so seek to destroy the tech. And so essentially, they're humans that have been adapted. So this one here for the Reborn, suspecting that a corruptive influence within the Unity has influenced their race. The Advent Reborn seeks to purge this unseen enemy to restore the Unity of its proper path. The Reborn faction is able to use the purifying Unity to revive destroyed ships, sacrifice worlds to inflict terrible damage to adjacent planets, and rapidly spread their culture to assist their fleets. The Reborn can also construct the Eradicate Titan, a powerful offensive ship that is supremely difficult to defeat. And so they have their unique planet item is a greater temple of purification. So they're all about even destroying themselves, so almost like a suicide bomber type faction, really, where they're happy to destroy what they've got to do more damage to their enemies. So the Eradicate Titan, a mighty warship that is capable of dealing massive damage to enemy ships and healing itself with the sacrifice of friendly vessels. So again, sacrificing its own smaller ships to actually then replenish the bigger ship. So again, a very, very different way of playing the game. The next one that we have is the Advent Wrath. So again, the Advent, we spoke about what their base storyline is, but this one here, eager to continue their struggle against the tech, the Advent Wrath seeks to assimilate any who survive into the society of the Unity. The Wrath use their unique culture to mind control enemy ships, empower friendly vessels within their cultural borders, and to take vengeance on foes. The Advent Wrath can also build the Coronata Titan, a unique warship capable of inflicting enormous damage and even of instantly acquiring hostile planets. They've got a greater temple of pilgrimage. So this and adjacent gravity wells are imbued with the presence of the Unity. When they become cleared of hostile forces, your empire automatically colonizes the planet, if possible. So planets colonized in this way receive a development track cost reduction as well. You've got a temple of assimilation as well. You've got the big Titan, a extremely powerful support ship that can manipulate the tide of battle and turn enemies against themselves. So it's almost like a domination type aspect. And again, they've got different sorts of temples and things like this. You can see this is quite a religious race. Then we've got the Vasari. So the Vasari, if we have a look at these guys, these are sort of much more alien. So once mighty empire of countless worlds, the Vasari have been travelling for 10,000 years to escape some unknown terror. Now in traitor space, they've been embroiled in a long war. Feeling that they've lingered too long in this region of space, the Vasari Exodus abandons cooperation and strikes out to take the resources that they need to escape. They also gain the ability to forego planets and consume them for resources, so they can strip mine planets essentially. They've got a debris reclamation centre. The debris reclamation facility enables the automatic harvesting of resources from destroyed ships at this planet and all planets up to one jump away. Labor camp, so they're happy to sort of use humans to, unsubtle oppression is used to force able-bodied humans into assisting mining and construction. And the core stripper allows you to consume a planet once you abandon it, stripping it of all its natural resources to generate a huge amount of resources. The planet is permanently ruined. And it's got the Vorastra Titan, a highly adaptive warship capable of quick movements and inflicting area of effect damage to enemies. And again, you can sort of see there, this is much more about exploitation of resources using slave labour, etc., etc. So that's sort of how this one then works. And then the last one that we've got is the Vasari Alliance. So this one here, unlike the Exodus Brethren, the Vasari Alliance feel their best chance for survival is to cooperate with other races and bring them along on the flight. While their preference is to work well with others, they are fully capable of managing any aggressor. So all minor factions are revealed because they're much more diplomatic than the other ones. They've got an embassy, so a grand yet welcoming structure built to house legions of Vasari, diplomatic experts, and facilitate mutual cooperation between species, intercultural exchanges, Xeno settlements. So these are very, very diplomatic. They try to win through diplomacy. The opposite almost of the other Vasari, which is again, it's very, very interesting the way it sort of does work. The unique unit is the Kulturask Titan, a powerful support ship which can use advanced nanotechnology to inflict damage on enemies and heal friendly ships. And you can see there, it's sort of like a fairly well-rounded, to a large degree. Xeno defense, intercultural exchanges. All for one is would be some sort of doctrine. There's a whole lot of different things in through here as well. So each faction plays very, very uniquely in the way that they sort of come across. Having said that, the game does sort of follow like a path that you then sort of, it's not like there's any massive surprises about the way that you actually approach the game. So it's one of those games, once you get used to and comfortable playing, it'll feel like like an old shoe where you can, it's just nice to put on all the time and it's just comfortable. And I think that's where the game will ultimately end up for most players when they actually do play it. There won't be really wildly different strategic decisions that you have to then go and make with the game. So again, it's going to be much more comfortable to play than always trying to nut out a new way of actually playing the game, which I think, both approaches can have their pros and cons. I think we'll just go back to the Tech Enclave, which essentially is, I guess, the vanilla way of playing the game when you first sort of start. I was thinking I still even just play it on easy AI, just so that so we can have so we're not going to be sort of too stuck. I was thinking of actually changing that. We've got a few different best for learning the game and new players. If we go into here, we've got medium, a reasonable challenge for those who know the basics. Maybe we'll play with medium AIs. We can go up to hard for those who want a solid challenge, unfair, or nightmare. So impossible at the top there. So let's just play on medium for both of those. The actual random behavior will be chosen when the game starts. The behavior is like aggressive, defensive, or random. We'll just keep it on random so we don't know exactly what they're going to be. Let's go and choose the first of each one of these, actually. So the Advent Reborn. This will be the Temple of Purification. That way we're going to end up with a fair bit of aggression coming in through here. That's for the Advent. And then we've got the Vasari Exodus, which is, again, the labour camps and things like this. So we'll just go that way. So that's going to be so it's going to be us, the humans, versus the Advent versus the Vasari. That will be fun, I think. So random 3-player, everything else has now been set up. I will just double check that we did turn that one off. We did. Okay, let's just get the game started and get into it, I guess. That would be the way to do it. So I've actually got to head out to a barbecue, actually, of all things. And we have to leave right now. So I'll get the game started but I'll record that separately. Okay, I'll be right back. This will all be part of the one video, of course. Actually, one thing I forgot to do, which I will do right now, is to show you the tutorials, which are actually really, really cool the way that they do work. And I'm going to show you one in particular because it does give you an idea of the scope of the game in terms of the combat, which I think is a good thing to look at. So you've got all sorts of different things from very simple camera controls. These are very quick and easy to do, by the way. I really do recommend that you actually do all of them. They're very, very fast, really streamlined, very, very well done. But the last one is actually combat model overview in through here. So we're just going to play this one through before we get into the actual game itself. For the simple reason that this one shows you more advanced ships than what we will have for quite some time. It'll take us some time to build up to what this particular tutorial will show. So that will show you the scope of the combat. Let's have a look. So we just go and start the tutorial. The way the tutorials work is it does sort of then load in a scenario and then it steps through a series of prompts. Some of these are just information and some of them ask you to do certain things, but it is streamlined. So what we have through here, I'll be explaining most of what we then go and do in our actual game, but I will talk about the ships as we do this one. So welcome to the Combat Model Tutorial, Commander. Here you will learn the basics of the combat model and how to use the knowledge for victory. So you've been given a small fleet to analyze. While the actual size of your fleet is important, understanding the capabilities of each ship type is crucial. This knowledge allows you to build a fleet composition that counters your opponent. Now, it's sort of what's interesting about this game is you're not designing ships like you do in many other Space 4Xs. The ship itself has got innate capabilities that you then have to sort of figure out what numbers you need of that type of ship to make the best against whatever the enemy is that you're going up against. And this will then demonstrate that for you as well. Every ship has its strengths and weaknesses, being effective against some targets and vulnerable to others. Let's go over an example. Select one of your Cobalt light frigates to continue. So we now just need to focus on a light frigate. If we just zoom out, we can then sort of see this is out like our fleet in through here. Back over this side, we have our Cobalt light frigates. I'll just go and select it, and we'll just zoom into one of them. Actually, so we'll just have a bit of a look to see the actual ship itself, so we can see what they're actually talking about. So in this case, display the tooltip for this unit by hovering over the unit itself. You can see down in the bottom right-hand corner, or the center portrait at the bottom of the bar. So we can actually hover over that as well to bring it up. So either one of these two. The unit has decently high damage per second, and so you'll see through here. I don't know if I can't really keep it up. If I press Alt, it's still going to just disappear. But you'll notice that when we have a look at it down through here, we've got, like, it's part of the Alpha fleet. It's got durability of 50, armor points and hull points, weapons, and it's got the DPS and the piercing damage. And so the DPS is the damage per second, and this is sort of like, oh, hang on, I'm right in the way. I'm right in the way. I'm going to move to the other side. Why do I have the feeling I'm going to be doing this a bit? Let's see how we go. Let's see how we go with this. Cobalt light frigate. You can see there, Alpha fleet, durability 50, and then armor points and hull points. I'll explain this when we actually look at the combat. But then it's got the weapons with the damage per second. 9 damage per second. It's actually fairly high for a reasonably small ship. And then it goes through the types of weapons and things like this. And so you can see there, it can hit hard in large groups, which is exactly what we have. Like when we sort of zoom back out, all of these ships here are Cobalt light frigates. So they're all of the same sort of type. Now, one thing that we'll sort of notice when we're actually having a look at these ships, you'll also then sort of see that it's got the Home Guard determination. What that is when we had a look at the tech units before, they did actually have that special ability. So on the planet, there should be some sort of, like, this will be the Home Guard Command Center. This shows you this in action. So they end up getting 20% less damage taken. So when we hover over the ships, because we're within 2 sector jump range, we end up with the damage taken negative 20% from that Home Guard determination. So we can press Alt and get more information as well. It won't give us much more information on this particular ship, but it also then will show the screen as well, like just lots and lots of information about where things are going to be coming out of the actual screen itself. So anyway, that's the Cobalt light frigates. So we'll just go through. This will demonstrate just the selection of pretty much early ships, but not super early. So it'll give you an idea as to what does go on. Just go and click on Next. In Sins 2, all unit weapons are fully simulated. If you zoom in on the light frigate, you'll notice it lacks turrets. So if we have a look at this one through here, it's got hard points, and it does actually have hard set weaponry, like the actual medium autocannon, is just connected to the actual hull. If we have a look at some of the other ships, if we go to what's this one through here? That one has got, see how the turrets can move? Like these ones have got actually movable turrets. This is a Shuriken gunship corvette, and it's got a series of light cannons. Like it's got some cannons in the front there, which I think they don't look like they're on a turret. But then there are sort of like a couple of guns on turrets in through there. So these are all simulated. We also have another type of ship as well, which we'll have a bit of a look at. These are sorry, that's more Cobalt light frigates. Got a few of them anyway. But this is but these in through here with their, actually we can look at it on the big battleship.
Link active.
So oh, hang on, is that what we're supposed to do? I don't know if we're supposed to do that one. I think we were, because this will then sort of show that the turrets will then move around. This one does have turrets that will then be able to respond quickly to various threats coming in from different angles. So each of the actual turrets that we see there essentially will be able to move around the ship and not have to worry about the facing of the ship. Some of the weapons will rely on that, but others don't. You can even see that at the back end there, they've got another turret that they can then sort of swivel around on a certain degree. It would be really cool with this to see the actual fields of fire, but anyway, we don't get to see that. But that is it's something that's relatively important in this particular game. There are other games where you've got, like, for example, less ships in your fleet where it becomes crucially important, but not so much in this game, but it does talk about it. So the Coles tooltip shows it as a variety of weapons, including light autocannon turrets. So if you hover over there, you can see that it's got Gauss cannons, medium autocannons, and then light autocannons back and through there. And it's got like the damage per second. So the 3 light autocannons that it actually has do less damage per second than the Cobalt frigates, as an example, in that sort of instance. But they are on turrets. So, however, it has no point defense turrets, so it's vulnerable to long-range missiles. So it's good against corvettes. Now, there's 3 different classes of ships. Maybe we'll sort of show that as well if I can. Because you can sort of deviate off from here. If we go into the build ship menu, can we see it? Yeah, this thing goes through the different classes of ships and sort of how maneuverable they actually are. So the Corvette, we've got the Shuriken gunship corvettes back and through here, which are just tiny little ships. These are very, very small. They don't really pack much of a punch. So it just says they're a small and agile ship effective against low durability targets. If I press Alt, you get a little bit more information in through there. But that's actually, so that's what they are. They are almost like fighter. There's a step up from fighter craft. Then we've got the frigates, and so the frigates here, we've got the Cobalt light frigate back and through here. We also have a colony frigate, and then we have other ones that we can then start to unlock as well over time. Then finally we have the cruisers, and the cruisers are bigger. So a support cruiser able to manufacture and field a squadron of strike craft. There's like a carrier. They all have different sorts of roles, the different ships. And then finally the big capital ships, which is what we see in the middle through here. So we're looking at a coal battleship in the middle of the actual big group. So, and these are much, much stronger than the others. So I just wanted to sort of show what those sorts of things are, so you get a bit of a feel for the scope of the actual weaponry in the game. So through here, to protect our units from missiles, build Garda flak frigates with fast tracking point defense turrets to take down missiles and strike craft. They're not effective against other targets, so they need support. So essentially, these are good against missiles and strike craft. Getting the flak frigates. So very, very specific need. Build some flak frigates to continue. So we need to build 10 Garda flak frigates. Different ways of building, and we'll show this in the game as well. But look, we ultimately want to bring it into the fleet that we actually have. The Alpha fleet has got one battleship when I hover over that symbol there, or if I hover over this symbol through here, you can see that is the battle fleet itself. If I go and click on that, it will then highlight the ships that are part of this fleet. So we're now actually having a look at the fleet, and we can manage the fleet from this button. So in this case, we have the Alpha fleet has got one coal battleship. It's got 20 Cobalt light frigates, and it's currently got 10 Shuriken gunship corvettes, and we need to build 10 Garda flak frigates now. Now it's actually showing that we can't do it because of the because it needs research, but in this it's a tutorial, so it's going to let us do it. Now to build 10 of them, I can either press Shift and build 5 at a time, or Control Shift to build 10 in one go. So I'm just going to press Control and Shift and click on it. 10 are being done. Excellent. The combat model is deep, but when it comes to the basics, the next most important factor is durability. So that will now start to sort of build as things develop. Now, because we selected the fleet when we did it, they automatically come into the fleet, which is a handy little tip. So next, select your Shuriken gunship corvette, which is this one here.
Finally.
And so this is the one we had a look at just before. So display the Corvette's tooltip, and note it has 0 durability. These are fast-moving little ships. Okay, so they really they're not here for survivability. Corvettes gain their defense primarily through maneuverability. They are very effective as a swarm unit against targets with fixed or slow-moving turrets, even if these weapons have very high damage per second or pierce, because literally one hit, they're done, but their speed is their key. And so again, if we press Alt, it'll then sort of say, actually that's talking about just the durability, it's not talking about the actual ship itself, but these are fast ships, and we'll see this when we go into combat, how these actually sort of do work, but they're not built for survivability. You don't want to be a pilot of one of these. Even if the weapons have very high DPS or PS. Here we go. An enemy base has been set up nearby with assailant missile frigates and a starbase. To take down the starbase, it's best to use torpedo cruisers. Let's prepare for this engagement. Let's prepare for this engagement by building some torpedo cruisers. And so we need to build 10 Ogrov torpedo cruisers. Again, what I'm going to do through here is I'm just going to go and click on my Alpha fleet again, and have that one selected, so I can just build them straight into here. And so the Ogrov cruisers are here. And so these have got heavy torpedoes. So these stay back. And when we go into the fight, you'll see what I mean. So Control Shift, we'll build 10 of those as well. It's just quick. It's just doing a fast build. Amazing, you won't know what hit them. Build another capital ship to continue. Now, the first capital ship that you have in the game is free, essentially, so you can always have at least one of them. And then from there, you can then just go and pick another one as well. So the capital ships, we've got one coal battleship already. Then we've got a choice. Now, it won't really matter too much. I think I'll just go for hitting power. I'll go with the Dunov battle cruiser. This is a balanced support ship that sacrifices firepower for diverse utilities. Maybe we'll go something a bit more strong. A warship specialised in mobile production, or what's this one here? A powerful warship specialised in long-range attacks and planetary bombardment. This one does have one heavy missile. If we have a look at these in through here as well, these have got 10 damage per second, whereas this one here has got 50 damage per second. So let's go and throw one of those in. We get one of those immediately because we're playing a tutorial. It won't happen like that in the real game. So now we need to destroy the opponent's starbase to continue. And so I'll show you, we'll just go through the steps just so you get a bit of a feel. This will show the scope of where the mid-game sort of will end up as we sort of play it. So we're up to now 13 or 14. If we have a look at our fleet, again, just double checking that everything is in here. The two that aren't in here are construction frigates, which is fine. So we've got essentially like light factory, heavy factory, and then the ships themselves in through here. Now you'll notice that these two are flashing, so I'll just go through a few of these things. If I go and click on the first ship, I'm just going to do the first upgrade. This is just showing, yep, there's an upgrade available, so we'll just go and do the upgrade. Do the next one as well. Quite often there'll also be upgrades back over here as well that you can then go and pick, which I won't worry about. We'll do that when we get into the actual game itself. Other things to consider. When we go and click on the fleet itself, you'll notice that these change to orange because this is a fleet command. If we just select an individual ship, if I select that ship there, it's blue. So it's sort of essentially for the ships that are then selected. So if I select other ships as well, if I select all of those, I can then sort of make different decisions about how they perform. But what we want to do is we want to just change how the fleet performs. So there's a little bit of a tip. At the moment, they're just moving fast. So move and phase jump units as fast as possible. Now, I'm going to go and toggle the jump by so I can just go and click, actually no, control, what is it, control tab? Does that work? Yeah, that one works. So they're now going to move in formation. So move and phase jump ships in with formation. This will be slower, as ships will wait for other ships before jumping, but all ships will arrive together. This is important for attacks, so we do want to set these sorts of things up for our fleet. Once we've done that, the fleet is then set to always operate that way. We've got different things we can do through here as well. So this is attack an enemy target. We can actually sort of then just go and oh sorry, that's actually selecting what we're going to target. I'll just press escape on that one. This one here is engage anywhere. So you can see it's a cycle the order mode, and we've got Y. We just press the Y key and it's got then hold position. So it won't really attack. So ships will only attack enemy targets if they're within range. We don't want that. This is ships will only attack enemy targets that are close by, and will disengage and leash back if they move too far away. But we're going to go with engage anywhere, which means when we go into a gravity gravity of a body, it will then sort of do everything it has to do automatically, so we don't have to worry about the ships. The last one through here is just to stop all orders if we wanted to. So that's sort of where we are with these. Let's now just go through and select everything. So the object now is to sort of bring everything. Now with the fleet selected, I can move across to this base in through here. So this is actually where we're going to be doing the attack. So I'm just going to go and select with that fleet selected. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'll just go and I should be able to right click. Hang on, why is that? Destroy the enemy starbase to continue. I'll just, there we go. So they'll just be coming into the system in formation. We can just follow them through to see what's going on. So they'll just wait for everyone to arrive. The fast-moving ships will get there first, and then they'll go through the hyperspace towards that system. It's a beautiful looking game, this one. Let's just turn this one off a little bit, just so we can sort of see what's going on here graphically. It's beautiful. And off they go, zipping towards the enemy planet. So we're coming into this particular system. So we'll bounce in very, very soon. Here they all come. And so waiting for us are a whole range of different sorts of ships as well. They've got some small ships. Here we go. So we're now inside the system. They'll then start to move across automatically to engage with us. And then our ships will start to do different things. And what we'll notice is that the different types of ships, once they come into the system, will sort of operate in formation and then break formation as required. Now remember, we've got the Cobalt Light frigates are attacking in through here. We do need to have those flak destroyers. We'll start to, and I'll just pause it for a second. We should start to see certain things actually happening. Sorry, I'm just missing the actual ship itself. So these are small fighter craft that we're seeing through here. It's hard to sort of pick up on these, but these are like little fighter craft coming in, little bombers from the Prophets of Z. So these have got these are going to be trying to fight against our actual ships. So we should be ready to attack. So they're going to be coming in and streaming in towards ours. Let's just follow them in. Just see where they go. They're breaking off, and you can see there'll be sort of firing happening from flak frigates and also from the actual guns themselves in through here. So the actual big battleship is relatively good at containing those. So there's all the different flak frigates are now sort of operating, and now we're getting missiles coming in against our ships. But see how they're being blown up back in through here. So they're being intercepted by some of the other ships. Now these are still just the Cobalt Light frigates. They're coming through. We still haven't taken any damage here on our actual on our big ship and through this other side, and we've got the this one here. We've got the shield points have only just taken a bit of a hit, but nothing too much. But at this stage, our flak frigates are firing think our flak frigates are back through here. These are the Garda flak frigates, and they're the ones blowing up the missiles as they sort of are getting closer. So they're doing more and more damage against the actual against the missiles as they're coming in from the big base, from this Divinity base. In the meantime, we've then got another group of ships, and this is where you sort of need to do a bit of analysing to sort of see, okay, what do these ships do? These are Canrack assailants, and they've got medium phase missiles as well. So these have also got missiles. So they're also going to be targeting probably our main sort of battleship in through here. We do actually have another group of ships back in through this other side. So if we have a bit of a look at these are our big cruisers, as well as the other dreadnought that we had brought in, which have all got long range missiles, and they're going to be targeting directly the actual base itself. Interestingly, what will actually happen fairly soon is the small ships that we had, these not the flak frigates, where are they? We'll see them take off fairly soon. These are the gun corvettes. If you have a look at one of these and just start to sort of track forward, we'll have a look and see how they perform in this fight, because these are the ones that have got zero durability. So they're moving forward. So our other guys are taking a bit of a beating. These are now going to start zipping around and avoiding the fire from the big area. One hit and they're down, and they're just going to start to circle the actual target, doing as much damage as they can. Now that one just got hit, but it's still yeah, now it's gone. Oh no, it's still actually there. It's still actually working. Okay, oh no, it's got the armor points, of course. The durability is low, but the armor points are still actually there. So it's taking a bit of a beating. And these are just auto. I'm not doing anything with this. It's just flying around, avoiding the shots as much as possible. If I zoom back out, we can then get a bit of a feel for these little ships are sort of circling around. In the meantime, the Cobalt light frigates are taking a bit of a beating, so they're actually being targeted with our big battleship in behind. The battleship has now lost all of its shielding, and it's starting to now lose its armor. And more missiles are coming in. The flak frigates are no longer protecting the battleship. Flak frigates may have been destroyed. These guys are still sending in their missiles against the target. So everything is now sort of going up against this particular target. This thing here is also now lost all of its shield, all of its armor, and it's got crippled hull points. So it's now sort of rattling through those hull points. It's almost dead. So these guys are now sort of just protecting it. Actually, they're the flak frigates.
Ready for battle.
There we go. Just blew up the actual. So that is the target, and now they'll start to target these as well. So that was the. It just gives a bit of a feel for. I didn't explain very well what was going on there, but it's interesting to see the different classes of ships and how they do perform. Anyway, that was the tutorial. Thought I'd just sort of show that one because I think it does present the game in a good light. Okay, let's get back into our actual game. All right, so I've got the game paused 2 seconds in, and the first screen is showing the heavy factory, which is where we build our large ships. And so the reason for this is because we essentially get a free dreadnought or a free Titan, like a free large ship anyway, that we can sort of then go and build immediately. So that's pretty much the first thing you're going to do in the game. So let's just go and do that. Now, again, I want to do it through the Alpha Fleet. So I can just go and click on it. And from there, I can then go and build it. The other thing I can do is I can just go and click on this one and then go to build ships and then build a ship that way as well. Or I can go and click on the planet, go to build ships, and build it that way. It's all going to come out of the same place, but I want it to ultimately end up in the Alpha Fleet. So I'm going to do it by selecting the Alpha Fleet first and then doing it. I think it's a good habit to get into when you're playing the game, just to help you organize. We can then go and add new fleets or planets if we're wanting to sort of keep track of different things. This is probably a good planet for us to keep track of. So I think I'll actually select the planet as well, which is our home planet. So Pentaro. I'm going to go and add that one in. So with that selected, I just go and click on the plus there. I can keep on adding more and more into this one in through here. Now Pentaro is, I can then sort of get a bit of a summary. We'll go through this in a minute as we sort of get into the actual game itself. But the Alpha Fleet, I'm also going to go with the Alpha Fleet selected. I'm going to go Control 1.
Control group created.
That way I can just press number 1 and I've then got that fleet. So that just makes it a little bit easier. With that selected, I then have to make my choice of which one of these capital ships do we want. Now I'm trying to keep this Let's Play fairly vanilla, just so that we can go through stock standard things. And so I'm thinking I just go with the Coal Battleship, which is sort of like, it just says a heavily armed and armoured warship that has many direct combat abilities. So this one has a good all-round performance. So I think we'll actually go and do that one. You'll notice down the bottom there it says Best Factory, Pentaro. If you are doing it this way through the actual fleet aspect, it will decide which of the heavy factories that you end up building will be the best one to supplement that fleet. In this case, the best one is the only one we have, which is at Pentaro. So we're going to go and select the capital ship, and so that comes automatically as soon as I unpause the game. Let's now talk about other things that we can then go and do. When we come in at Pentaro, because whichever gravity well we're actually in this case we're in the Pentaro gravity well, we'll have the information showing up through here. If I zoom out and have a bit of a look at at what's going on, we don't know anything about the others, but as I move across to the others, that will then, once we get the information, that will then see how this one has now hooked in. So that's important to just know what's going on with those. That will then allow you, when you go into the gravity well, I then have the information. And what it does is it gives me a summary of what's actually in the system in terms of what we've got in terms of infrastructure. And so in this case, we've got ourselves a light factory, which allows us, if I press Alt, I don't know if it'll sort of show much. No, it's not really sort of showing what this one does. But these build your small ships, like the smaller ships. We've got a retrofit bay as well, so we can sort of do retrofitting. This is nothing much to sort of talk about there. We also have the heavy factory, which we're just using at the moment to build that first ship. So that will come out of the heavy factory, and when I hover over them, they just highlight. If I press Alt at any point, everything highlights in the system, and we get more information about essentially anything that we hover over. So we then actually have a couple of these are scout corvettes, back and through here, and so these are very, very small ships. So a light corvette with powerful engines and remote surveillance equipment. It is adept at reconnaissance. These essentially aren't targeted by enemy, by the AI. What would you call them? I guess you'd call them the neutrals. The NPCs. The NPCs won't attack your scouts, so they can just sort of scout anywhere they like. One thing I like to do, I think, with these random games is it's important to get your scouting done fairly quickly, just so you can sort of make decisions, strategic decisions. I'm just going to go and click one more of these. Now, before I do it, I will actually just go through and talk a little bit about what we see on the screen itself. So they're the three different factories, etc. We've got the light factory, the retrofit bay back and through here. You can click on each of these as well to sort of see what they can then go and do. Allow ships to build items with no build time penalties by having this particular one. And then the heavy factory and through there to be able to then build our larger ships. Now you'll notice that when I go and click on this one to go and build ships, if I do it in through here, most of these have got like a little beaker symbol. Is it beaker? Or I forget what they're called anyway. The beaker, I think, is just straight up and down. But anyway, whatever these ones actually are, which means we need research to be able to go and do those. You'll notice that these have got another little symbol, and this is showing that we actually need to have special resources to actually then go and build these as well. So there's, you can see it says exotics required, and so we need to actually have certain exotics to be able to then go and build this ship, except for our first ship. Our first one is free, but after that we need to have special exotic minerals to be able to then go and build it. In terms of the actual game itself, it uses 3 basic resources plus the exotics. So we've got credit income. Now this is essentially just comes from your trading, from the planets themselves. So typically the bigger your empire gets, the more credits you're going to have coming in. You've also then got metal production back and through here as well. And we also then have crystal production. Now you'll notice the rate, like 1.7 crystal, 1.9 for metal, and then we've got 6.2 coming in for credit. We spend these for everything we do. And so managing the rate of income is really probably the main important thing to do economically in the game. That's really your target, is to improve that rate, which means that your decision making in the early part of the game should be about how do I get more minerals, crystal and credits coming back in, because that will be how you build up as quickly as possible. So there are your basic resources. Back over through here, we've got the markets, so we can buy and sell resources and exotics, but there's nothing we can do at this stage. So we can ultimately then go and buy metal, crystals, or exotics back in through here. We also then have the trade, so allocate, allocate export points between goods, metal and crystal export types to customize your economy. Build trade ports to increase global export points and export types, but at this stage we don't have any. So we'll talk about this down the track. Building a trade port would be something that we try to do a little bit more than the other factions potentially. That will be important to us, but not important at the start of the game. Then finally, these are the actual exotics that we then actually have. So you can see there we've got Tauronite, Indurium, Kalinide, Andvar, and Aquanium. So these are different types. So exotic factories. Your empire currently has no factories to build the exotics on demand. Use planet surveying to discover exotics that can be excavated instead. And this require an exotic refinery to then be able to make use of these. And so we don't have any of those as well, but these will then be something ultimately we'll end up getting these, but these are more mid-game sort of things, all three of these really. Back over through this other side, we then actually have our research. Now, with the research, your empire currently has no research capabilities. Build orbital research stations to acquire research points. This will be fairly important. Not like in other games, though, where it's critical to just keep research going back to back to back. Research costs. It costs resources. So you have to think about what you need. We'll have a bit of a look at this. In fact, we'll look at it now, I guess. So these are split between different... I say numbers, but essentially we've got like a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and these all require, you can see they're required civilian research points 0 of 1. Then we have to have required civilian research points 0 of 4, to then go to the second phase, and then 0 of 8. So we've got 0 at the moment, 15, and then finally 25. And so these are the research points required to be able to then access these. These will then open up the different lines that we see through here. You can see there's a slight coloration with these first two columns, and then the next one is the next two columns, etc. There will be certain things in here that we'll be wanting to target depending on what we find. And so one of the cool things about this game is that even though the research tree looks fairly intricate, there will be opportunities based on our surveying. So we have to then sort of be mindful of what's happening there. So to get to this one here, we're going to need to build multiple civilian research stations to then go into the second phase. Now there's some important things in the second phase that we're going to be wanting to get. Before I do that, these are split into industry, annexation, and then policy. So for example, this one here is mercantile envoys. This one here is skilled merchants are sponsored by the tech to establish mutually beneficial ties with minor factions. So this one allows us to then deal with the minor factions. Focused exploration. So these ones unlock scouts to find minor factions sooner if we wanted to go and do that one. So we'll get these first ones relatively quickly. Annexation is an important one, depending on what we find. What we'll find through here, for example, is Arctic colonization. We've got asteroid mercantile mandate. So the asteroid commerce credit income rate goes up by plus 50%, which is really, really important. So these are quite crucial to get these early on. But then we actually have other ones as well, which I think they're up in through here somewhere. Orbital extraction, this one in through here. We'll be wanting to get this one fairly quickly because it allows us to then go and build metal and crystal extractors on asteroids around the actual planetary bodies themselves. And so this will be fairly important to us. So anyway, that's the research, but don't rush the research. You don't need to sort of rattle ahead and just, you won't. You'll have certain things you'll be wanting to get, like the orbital extraction, but really depending on what you find, Arctic may not be what you need. It may be one of the other colonizations that you need to get, like primordial colonization, for example, if you find these sorts of planets. You'll be probably wanting to get all of them at some point, but you don't need to sort of worry too much about those. But getting this one here is fairly important to have that as a target for us to then sort of go and be mindful of looking for. But before we can do any of these, and before we can unlock this first grouping, we do need to have one civilian research point, which we'll build pretty much straight away. The next one is military research, back over through here, again split into mobilization, experimental design, and then armament and engineering. And so these actually all do different things, but the things, for example, like a lot of these will then unlock the Garda, the Garda flak frigates. This will be the Shuriken gunship corvettes. So we can unlock these ships in the first phase, and then we need to have 4 military research points coming in to then unlock the second phase and start to get other ones in through here. These again are important just for the balance of what we do, and we saw that in that tutorial, the different things that we will need. And so eventually we end up sort of getting like those Ogrov torpedo cruisers only come when we've got 15 military research, which is a long way into the game. So that's why the tutorial, I think, is a good one to have a look at, to see how things are sort of operating with those. And then finally we end up with the Anklon in through here, which is the Titan Foundry. It allows you to build a Titan Foundry and the Anklon Titan, a massive warship of immense power. So these are sort of as we sort of get towards the late game with these other sorts of units. And so keeping ahead of the AI with the things that we need and being very selective with what we do need, because these do cost. It says research time 90 seconds, but it also does cost resources to go and access them. You can see there, acquire time 30 seconds, and it does have a price, like 400 credits, 75 metal, and 125 crystal just to unlock that particular phase. But we need to do that one fairly early. So anyway, they're the 2 research. That's the way that sort of works. I'll just go and bring that one back. Then we actually have diplomacy. Now at the moment, we know that there's Ast Eternal and the Rakaran survivors, but we haven't actually met them yet, so we can't really do much with them. I don't think we can actually... we can't do anything yet until we meet them. So we'll come across them in due course. Minor factions, we haven't met them yet either. There's only 2 minor factions in this particular game, but sometimes you can have up to about 4 of those usually, depending on what's actually happening in through here. So click to reveal. We don't actually have anything in through here as well. Reveal cost 1. We don't actually have any of the influence points, so we can't see who's going to be in the system. Could be pirates, could be all sorts of different things. Then we've got the military command. This is important to know how to use this. The way this one works is we've got maximum supply of 100 points and use supply of 54. Now, you can see what it's made up of. So we've got the research tier required military 1. So build 2, and that's to get the next is the maximum supply research basic provisioning. So to have a look and see what that is, at the moment we've got 100 supply points. If we go across into here, is it under here? That's hull reinforcement. Must be further up the top in here. Basic provisioning in through there will give us a maximum supply of 250, which allows us to have more points. So if I hover over this one through here, you'll see that the built units, we've got 2 scout corvettes, which is taking up 4, and we have now the queued unit is the Cole battleship we just clicked on, which is taking up 50. So we don't have a real lot to spend, and we're going to have to keep some of these points. So just so we don't have to rush to get this one in through here, we can manage our fleet fairly effectively with the basic ships that we actually have available to us. So that's the military command. When we do click on that one, it will then give us a look at the capital ships and star bases. So we can sort of have a look at the big units that are chewing up a lot of the actual points in through here. Then finally we just have our planet list. This is a great screen as well, just in terms of if you are playing multiplayer and can't pause the game, you can just go in and start to tweak things. It's the same when you go into here with going through all of these different aspects to go and click on the actual planet itself and have this little button bar down the bottom through here. You'll see that they're pretty much the same aspects, or some of these are the same aspect of what we see through there. So logistics, for example, this allows us to build more slots in orbit. Then the next one across here is defense. So it doesn't show it in through here, but that's something we can do on a planet-by-planet basis. Improve the defensive capabilities of this planet. This allows you to build more military orbital structures back in through this other side. Then we've got the commerce. So this improves the credit income of the planet. That will be important for us to go and do that. So 30-second development time to keep on doing these. We want to max these out fairly quickly. The next one across is mining, and this will be our metal and crystal income as well. And again, 30 seconds to do that with a little bit of a cost. So we need to upgrade these, and then we actually have our research rate. Probably not crucially important at the start of the game. Next one across is surveying. What this will then do is this will then open up, and this is surveying is, where is it in here? There it is over here. So the survey time, we're guaranteed on this planet to find Endurium. So we'll find one Endurium exotic if we do this. Again, it's not for the early game, so let's not worry about that just yet, but that's something that will be important. And then we actually have the planetary items, which are the same ones that we see in through here. We start off with our Home Guard Command Center. We can go and build other ones. Now, if we go and click then the up arrow through here, we'll then sort of see that everything is currently locked away in behind research. So we need to have certain research to then go and open these up to do different things. So depending on what our needs are, we can then quickly analyze what we require and then build accordingly. And so we have a limit of what we can actually then go and build on the planet. We only have like 4 areas in through here that we can build into. And we do actually have things that some things will be the planet level required will be 5 in this instance. So our planetary level just isn't high enough. Our planetary level here is 4, as an example on Pentaro. So before we need to improve before we can do much else than through here. So choosing what to do, it's very simple in its scope of what it does do. But the choices that you have will impact a lot based on what you find and where you are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpause the game and just start playing and just explaining what's going on. That's the interface. That's what's going on. I'm going to first of all just build 5 other ships. So before I unpause it, actually one thing we haven't spoken about is the build of the orbital structures back in through here. And so this one here allows me to build certain structures. Again, some of them are locked away, like the metal extractor. We need the orbital extraction, which is in the second civilian tier of research. This is the crystal extractor. Now you can see there we've got civilian orbital slots available asteroids 1. What that's referring to is these. So we've got a crystal asteroid back over through here. To build on that asteroid, we would need to then actually be able to build one of this crystal extractor. So that's the way that one does work. And then we've got another one back over here, which is a metal asteroid. So that's all we have in our home system is just one of each. Some systems will have a lot more. Depending on the class of planet, you'll also then have different ways that these work as well. So ice planets, for example, will mainly have crystal, and asteroids will mainly have metal. And we'll see that as we sort of start to explore. It'll make sense as we get into it. Other things that we need to unlock is the broadcast center. We've got the, which we'll talk about a little bit later, the exotic refinery. If we do actually find the various, the various exotics, you can see there the civilian orbital slot cost of 3 to build one of these big things. Then we've got the trade port. This one has got a slot cost of 2, and this one here will then allow us to then start to look at doing trade, which we'll talk about in due course. And then we finally have the Titan Foundry as well. And again, late game for us to be out before we can do anything with that one through there. That's the civilian areas. We've used up 3 slots already with the civilian side of things. We've got the light factory, which just uses up 1 slot, and this one allows us, we can build the scout corvettes, the cobalt light frigates, and also the colony frigates. You can see that they're the ones in white. In grey, we haven't unlocked yet the other ships. I love this as well. The game just tries to find ways with its user experience and user interface to make information readily available in a very, very succinct way. And so you don't have to worry too much about doing anything. There's a whole lot of different things you can do in the game, and everything has been streamlined, which I love. I just love what they've done with this, and this is so much better than the original game because of all of these little sorts of extra things. And so essentially they've got the light factory. Then this one here is 2 orbital costs, which is why we're using up 3. And this is the heavy factory. So you may sort of think, well, they aren't these building military things. They are, but it's still a civilian outpost. What we actually then have is military things over through here, which is more about attack and defense is really what we sort of are looking at through this other side. So what we end up having is we've got the heavy factory, which costs 2. This one allows us to build our battleships, dreadnoughts, the carriers, things like that. So we end up with our large capital ships essentially. And then finally, we've got 2 other little ones in through here. This is our civic research station, which takes up 1 civilian orbital slot, and the military research station in through here. Now, let's go and start building these straight away. You can see this one costs 500 credits plus metals and crystals, and it does give us the 1 point required to be able to get what we need. So, as we're sort of starting, let's just go and do that as well. But if we're playing in real time, like if we hadn't unpaused, it really wouldn't matter that much. I can just go and select it. If I press Control, it will auto place. So I'm going to probably keep them all together back over and around here. I'm just going to go and click it, and then I can just build it anywhere in here inside this range. Let's just build it on the inside of the of these other factories. So we'll just go and build one of them there. And you can see there the amounts have now been extracted or taken out of what we are doing through here. And we'll build another one over through here as well. Now these are just being queued up. You can see down through here. So we'll queue both of these up. That will then allow us to do our first level of research once they're done. Now that they've been selected, you'll notice that our research is now flashing because we can start to queue up that first tier of what we're doing. At this point, our civilian has now gone up to 5, and so that's fine. We're sort of in a good position there. That's pretty much a no-brainer, getting those at the start of every game. Now back into our military slot, back into this other side, we've got the autocannon defense platform. We don't need it until we're under threat, so let's not worry about that one just now. We do actually also already have the retrofit bay, which chews up 2 slots and allows retrofitting, and then we've got the Gauss defense platform as well. So triple Gauss cannons defend nearby structures and the planet from hostile cruisers and capital ships. We don't need this yet either. So these are not sort of something that's critical. After that, we then have the phase jump inhibitor, just sort of lock ships in, prevents enemy ships from phase jumping away from this gravity well. Then we actually have the hangar defense, so squadrons of strike craft can then sort of be used from this particular location. And then we actually end up with the Argonev starbase, which exotics required. We require 3 of the whatever that type of exotic was. That's actually for press Alt. It's not going to show me what that is. Anyway, we require 3 of whatever exotic that is. Let's not worry about it at this stage. So research required, we need the Argonev in military 2 to be able to unlock this one through here. So this is like a big starbase that we can then sort of build as well. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, so that's actually sort of the they're the different things we can then sort of go and build. So at this stage we've got these queued up. And did we get our ships queued up? I'll just have a quick look and see. Got the coal battleship. I'm just going to go and build. All we have available to us at this stage is more scout corvettes, which I am going to queue one of them up. I don't think I queued another one up. Yeah, I'll queue one of them up, just so we've got 3 scouts. I think that's a useful number when you're playing a random map, and we don't need any more than that. That's going to then chew up, as we do this, it's going to then start to cost us a bit more. So that next corvette with the queued units is another 2 that's now been added in. And I don't want to go crazy because I ultimately do want to have a colony frigate come in, and this is a 5 supply cost. And then we've got the Cobalt Light frigates also at 5. If I press Shift, I can build 5 ships at once, so I'll do that. That's now going up to 81, which gives me a little bit left over to keep on building things like the colony frigate, which will be very, very important. Let's unpause the game. There we go. And we get this big ship immediately. And so you can see there we've got things queued up. I'm going to wait for the other ships to come in, wait for these 5 to be built. The scout ship, so I just pause that for a second. This is a construction ship going off to build this particular base, so that base has to be built. The scout ships will go off into the various systems to find their way through to sort of see where they're going. So these 2 are now moving off to do scouting. And if we have a bit of a look, we don't know much at all about what's going on. We should be able to see the sun. There's the sun back in through there. I can just sort of right-click. I can use WASD in through here. I can sort of zoom in on different areas. But this is so that is the actual star that we're in orbit around, not that one down the bottom there, but that one across there. And so we're pretty much always on the same plane, of, like the same galactic plane. There's no big 3D elements that sort of go anywhere. There's a little bit of 3D when we zoom in on things. There'll be certain things that will then sort of be higher or lower, but in essence, it's pretty much all on the same plane. Now we're going to wait for our other frigates, and then we're just going to go off and start to expand. So let's just unpause. These guys will then just go off and do their thing. And again, there's really no rush with the game. It's quite relaxing if you do make use. Now that is the other scout frigate. That was the third one that was built. Now we've got 3 avenues out from here, which makes that's all good. They're then going to hit the. In fact, this one was the last one to be built is going to go through first. So it's going to make its way across to there. There it goes. So it is now finding its way through, and again, it's one of these. It's a fairly relaxing game in the sense that we just have to do different things. This will then have a bit of a look. This is a so in this case we've got an asteroid field. There's an intense gravity field. So this planet has higher gravitational field. Now, if I just pause that so I can read it, then its size would suggest requiring ships to travel further out to perform a phase jump. So the gravity well radius goes out by plus 100% for this particular gravity well, so it's got like a larger gravity well than other locations. In through here we can see that we've mainly got the metal asteroids, 3 metal asteroids and a one crystal asteroid in through there. Now we can set up a base on Nakai, so in through here if we wanted to. That's something we can actually then go and do. There are some very light forces protecting this particular location. We can see there these are Cross-Off siege frigates. We've got Cobalt light frigates, the same as what we've got in through here. Garda flak frigates, Cobalt light frigates. So this is what we're finding in through here. They won't target our scout ship. The scout ship will then just go off and keep on doing its own thing. As we have a bit of a look, the other ships have now also found their locations. We now actually have another one in through here. This is Tuskia. I think there won't be anything special about this one through here. This one here has got 2 and 2 with it, what it actually has. Again, a small group in through that side. This one we don't know. It may have another line that goes off. We're looking for the choke points to sort of see what does go on. It does look like this one is a great choke point heading in towards, deeper in towards the actual inner orbits of the actual star itself. And then finally we have, in this instance, a one with only 2 crystal mines, but this is actually an ice planet back in through here. So we need Arctic colonization to colonize this planet. So that's one of the ones we're going to be getting straight away. So if we go back to our gravity well, and again I can just go and click on the actual location just to sort of get it so that it fills up so we're actually focused on it. And once we actually have that one focused, I can then have a look to see what's going on through here. At this stage, we have we're still building the Civic Research Station, and we've got the Military Research Station on the way. We've still got 2 more Cobalt light frigates to build. Let's just go across to civilian research. And even though we haven't got this yet, I'm going to queue up Arctic colonization in here. Actually, I might even the Asteroid Mercantile Mandate. I might grab that one beforehand, actually. And now that we know that we need to, we're always going to need to colonize something. We're down to nearly like to 2,000 credit income at this stage, so we're spending what we've got. Let's just go back out of there and go into our ships again. So we've got the ships selected in through here to build, and so in this case, I'm going to go and build myself a single Protev colony frigate. Now I'm going to actually select that one, and I can then tell it what to go and do. I'm going to just keep it, actually I'll just leave it where it is. I'll just press escape, but that's something we will be wanting to make use of. I could even go and add a fleet and add that one to the actual to another fleet. That would have been another way of doing that one, just so I can actually just pick it up from the side. I think I'll do that when it comes out, but I'll explain how to do that one at the time. Let's just unpause, wait for these other 2 Cobalt light frigates to be built. And so managing our rates, you can see through here, this is the limiting factor of what we can then go and do. So it's not as if we have to rush, because even if we don't do things, we still will. All it will mean is that we end up with a bigger backlog in through here. One thing I should have done right from the start, though, is not to worry too much about logistics, which will then increase the civilian orbit slots and the maximum structure builders, is to increase the commerce. So we want to get our commerce going up. So I'm just going to go and start to build this one. I'm going to also do the same with mining. Now we are chomping through with this one. And I'm going to do the research rate. Maybe, yeah, I'll do one of those as well. But just queue all of these things up. As we build things, it will then show up in through here. Civilian structure built. And it's then just sort of showing us, we can actually click to select the unit, which is now this civic research station in through here. So the civic research station is now being constructed. And so now our research will now begin. And so we have to first of all build this one, like to get the that one through there. So that is actually being built, and then it will after that queue this one up and through here. So that's actually what's happening in through there. So a little bit going on at this point in time. Again, I'll just pause mainly just to give commentary. You don't really need to do it. Let's just go and zoom in again and just sort of see what's happening with our build. We've got one more Cobalt Light Frigate to go. All right, so let's just pause that at that stage as we come across different planets. So we now actually have like another planet that's been discovered. So as we go into the various areas, we'll see that there'll be a lot of these asteroids that we need to put outposts on. Now, in terms of our fleet, you see a little indicator there as to the ships in the fleet. So we've got 1 battleship and 5 Cobalt frigates. That's enough for us to do most things we need to do at the start of the game. So we may want to replenish these ships over time. We're going to go and I'm just going to go and grab the experimental beam here. There's different things we can do with our battleship. So with this selected, we have different aspects we can make use of. I'll just get the experimental beam in through here. I'm going to press the control tab in here and just have it so that they all move together. And I will just have engage anywhere when we do go in. So they'll sort of just pick their own targets. So that will be the way that we set up this particular fleet. We can keep on building other ships into this if we like. We've got 86. I might just throw a couple more in there. You can see we've got 5 with 2 being built. But let's go and send them off into where we first of all want to start to colonize, which probably is that choke point, I'm guessing. Let's have a bit of a look and see. We do actually have... Actually, we've got a couple now. That's interesting. We've got this one, which is... It might be more expedient for us to... we've got two ways out now. 2 choke points in through here. So either one of these... We do actually have this this location in through here would probably be the best one for us to start with. So let's go and grab that one as our first planet. So I'm just going to go and get the fleet. Again, we'll just make sure that we've got it selected. And if we just go and click on the
Yes, Commander.
on the inside level, they'll just come in and start to attack that one. Just unpause again. So we're only a minute 30 in. I've been pausing a lot, but that's mainly just to do the talking. So what these will do is these will then all sort of start to move across towards the jump area, and then start to make their way through.
Civilian research tier complete.
I'll just go and get this one as well.
Commerce upgrade.
This is now all available to us. Let's go and get the Arctic colonization as well. Queue that one up. They'll now wait because we gave it this order for this particular fleet. Did I make control group number 1?
Ready
I didn't.
for battle.
Control
Scouts
1.
have found a colonizable planet. Control.
Here we go. We've found a primordial planet. If we go and have a look at this one in through here, this is a planet here. Just by double clicking, we can then open this one up. And so this one here is a little bit further along, and in this again, it would be a good one as an entry point into our systems back in through this other side. So we want to control the choke points very much so. Our ships will just keep on exploring as it goes. Let's just go to Pentero, and we'll watch these ships as they leave.
Civilian structure complete. Mining upgrade complete.
Now our mining upgrade back in this other one has gone up. I'm just going to increase that again, and my credit as well. Oh, we've now run out of money. It doesn't take long. Now they'll start to just pick on the various ships that are inside here. It's a beautiful looking game, this one. I can micromanage these if I start to sort of see that some of the ships, if I press Alt, I can then sort of see the health of all of the ships. That first one there is the top one there is the shielding. Actually, sorry, just armor points. And so I can, once if we start to take damage, I can move back away with these. More ships coming in, but I won't micromanage it too much. I'm sort of I tend to do micromanagement, like I would be starting to move that one out of there now. If I can just go and click on it and tell it to move away. You see that they don't move very fast, which is why the smaller ships can be quite useful to take these sorts of things on. They'll then move back in again, but that'll be okay. This one here is these are both losing their armor.
Civilian research complete.
We are sort of breaking our way through. This one is now down into its just its hull points. That was sort of doing what they have to do in through here. Got reinforcements that have come in. Yeah, back in the fight again. Okay, level gained. Okay, so we've now got a level up on our battleship because of the experience on the battleship. Again, if I just hover over this one, you'll see that the experience is now 60 of 500 is where we sort of are. So we've gone to the first of the expansions we can then go and do. And so we'll just go and pick another one. This is Fusillade, or we can also get the Adaptive Force Field. Experimental Force Field greatly reduces damage taken. Let's actually do that one. So we'll just go and grab that. We still actually have the experimental beam. This is cooldown remaining, so it has been using that beam every so often. But this is good stuff. So the ship itself is now upgraded. Again, it's not uncomfortable. Like it's the game itself is fairly cool the way this one does sort of work. All right, it'll now go back because it's now gotten rid of the threat from the system. If we go and have a look at the full fleet.
Ready for battle.
And if we just press Alt through there, we'll sort of see that some of the ships have been damaged a little bit. I'm going to still send them all off to the next fight. It's slowly sort of picking up things up. Should be repairing. Yeah, slowly repairing. You can see there the armor points are coming back up very, very slowly. So we don't have to rush off if we want to sort of just try to maintain the ships. What we do need to do, though, is we need to make sure that we end up with... we've already found a player. I'll just pause again. So we've now found the Rackarun survivors, the Visari. We're finding more planets as well. If we just go and have a bit of a look at these guys. This will now just take us back into here. I'll show you diplomacy. What do we know yet? So we've got some good choke points in here. Now, we've come across one of their ships. We haven't found their capital yet. We haven't found where they're from. What do we got there? That's a volcanic planet back in through there. So we definitely want to control these systems here. And that one there is probably another good one for us to get. The more we can chew up with our own systems, the better. We can see there that this one over through here, Orpheus has actually got a little red dot, and that will be the enemy ship is now just in here as well. They've got a scout ship sort of moving their way through, so they'll be further around. We still haven't found their system yet. So now we should have in our home system, and I'll just go through how we'll then sort of control this. We do actually have the colony frigate back in through here.
Where to, Commander?
I'm going to go and add in another fleet. So select units and right-click here to create a new fleet, or select a planet and right-click to bookmark it. The other thing I can do is just create it, select the ship, and then shift click it basically into there as well. But let's just do that system. And so our beta fleet has just got one colony frigate, which is fine.
Ready for orders.
Now, do we have that? So we've now got Arctic colonization. We'll be wanting primordial colonization as well. So I'm just going to go and grab that one as well at this point in time. You can see there we're picking up income again, and we need to just keep with our, back in our home system, we do need to just keep pumping these across. Let's go and get more income. Our mining rate is already maxed out, and so we do need to just do more things here with the colonies that we end up getting. So we're going to go and grab the beta fleet, and we're going to move to this back area, which is sort of fairly safe. This is why I chose this one first, and I'm just going to go and tell that fleet
Where to, Commander?
to go and grab it.
Transmission received.
And they'll just come in, and he should, if we just go across, that's retreat, colonize.
Yes, Commander.
I'll tell it to colonize this planet. And so that will give us a whole other area we can start to build up on as well. And so the game is pretty much going through, initially anyway, claiming what you can and building what you can. Let's just go back to our first fleet.
Active.
Have a quick look
Ready
and see.
for battle.
We've still got some overall. Actually, that's the big ship. Some of these have still got a little bit of armor points to pick up. I think I might wait, and then we'll go back in and start to chew up some of these other things that are in close. Maybe this one here, then move across into here. So we'll, I think I'll do this one now. Actually, let's just go and with the first fleet selected. Why is that not wanting to do it?
Yes, Commander. At once.
So it will then move off.
Got a job for me?
Yeah, these have hardly got any. So I couldn't micromanage these and keep them out of the fight a little bit. There's also advanced actions as well for different ships, what they can then go and do back through here. This is for the actual fleet itself. We can get them to leave the fleet, rotate ships to a position, scuttle ships if we needed to. But I'll probably just micro those and just keep them out of it. Now we're nearly at the limits of our military command. So we'll go across into military research and grab the basic provisioning. Now they'll come through and they'll just deal with these automatically.
Civilian research complete.
Now that one there is bad. That one there is bad.
Give the order. Our fleet is under attack. Got a job for me? Commerce upgrade complete.
Oh, that's okay. We're rattling through. So looking at the armor points. Just press Alt. We can then sort of see all the armor points that are under assault.
What now? I'll do my best.
One out of the way. In reality, we could probably get away with.
Scouts have found a colonizable planet.
Move that one away.
A new
That one's
colony
moving back
has
in
been
again.
founded.
So we found a. This is actually like a. Just a Terran planet, which would be fairly nice. That's almost gettable. Now actually I'll just pause again. We've found a few little things. In Xenophon, we've actually now found a minor faction. So volcanic planet, the Prenus United. If we go to the miners, this is Prenus United in through here. And so these are pirates, are they? What are these guys? These are Prenus United is a military-industrial corporation. No, they're not pirates. Responsible for development of the Argonev starbase. They provide defensive technologies and heavily armored protection fleets. So we need to end up with them on side, and so that's what we would like to do. They have a metal market, a crystal market. Their demand is just normal. They trade export points in through there. They have. So we need to sort of get trading established with these guys. So the emergency gauze platform, something that they can then go and get. Focus on the home planet, which is this one in through here. So they're located in this location. They've got a lot of defences, as you can sort of see with the list of things that are actually there. There's a hell of a lot. But this is actually their main base of operations. So eventually we'll sort of get to a point where we need to then get them on side. We've now found the home base of the Versari. This is what is it? It's Waltari. Waltari, the home place of the Versari. And so in through here we can sort of see that they've got like a greater factory. Back in through here they've got their, actually this looks like it's Advent. No, this is Versari, I think. No, it might be Advent. Oh, yeah, it is. This is actually the Advent. So this is the Advent home. It's going to be a desert planet. And so they've already built things, for example, like the Shrine of Revelation and the Greater Temple of Purification. I think they start with both of those. You can see that they've also maxed out their mining and their commerce and haven't really bothered too much about logistics. They've got to the first level of logistics. This can be handy to see what the enemy is doing and what they're actually up to, with where their level of development actually is, just as a point of comparison. So we'll just keep on going with what we're doing. But I'm thinking I might actually call it quits at this point. We've now been going for a couple of hours. We've now got the start of the game done. We've done the absolute basics. We have colonized this particular world. And so we'll come back in next time and then just talk about, as we start to develop things up, as we build things up as well. Our crystal rates have now improved a little bit as well, so we're going up through those because of this extra planet. We just need to keep on getting more and more of these. So we'll just take it. We won't race ahead. We'll just try to get sort of like the bits and pieces. We do have this fleet still taking on one siege frigate back in through here. But overall, things are looking fairly positive. We do want to just heal up the ships. I might take them back to the home system and just keep all of those nice and healthy, just because they do cost. And at this stage, we are trying to minimise the expenses as we develop things up. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and I'll catch you in the next episode. I might start doing a few of these as live streams. I'll sort of see how I go. Anyway, I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.